Well, we have a new driver to the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, and somebody that we've watched grow from a Legends racer, a Bando racer. You were in the first Legends Million, if I remember that, and now climbed all the way up to the top of the ladder. Gaulding, the new driver for BK Racing. Welcome. This has got to be exciting times for you.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. It's definitely a huge opportunity for me. Biggest thing that's ever happened in my career. You know, this is a big opportunity to be a part of a great organization and a growing organization like BK Racing and Toyota, and bringing on Dr. Pepper as my primary sponsor. So very excited. It's going to be a long season, and I'm ready to get going at Atlanta.
You used to have to eat the donuts. Now do you do the Dr. Pepper?
Now I got to do Dr. Pepper. That's right.
First question, let's start with Jacob.
Jacob Seelman, Performance Motorsports Network. I actually remember you in a Legends car back at Charlotte when you were about, I don't know, 11 years old. Coming from there now to have this shot with BK at the Cup level, I mean, did you ever envision this happening as quickly as it's happened for you?
I never did. I mean, it's a dream come true, to be completely honest. You know, just a young guy from Colonial Heights, Virginia, just a small town that moved to North Carolina with my family to live out a dream. And I was racing legend cars and bandoleros, trying to cut my teeth on the short tracks. And just for somebody to see me, I thought that was cool. Hopefully a team owner or somebody would see my talent, and it's really led into something great. So I'm very fortunate, all the people to get me to this level. It definitely wasn't just because of my on-track. It was all the off-track, the hard work my mom and dad, my sisters, and everybody dedicated to get me to this point. And it's a pretty cool story to know that just a few years ago, you know, wasn't 10 years ago, it was, you know, 4 and 5 years ago, I was out there racing legend cars, wanting to be racing with the Jimmy Johnsons, the Denny Hamlins, you know, the guys like that in the sport. So now that I'm here, I'm going to go out my rookie season, try to earn my respect, and I'm just very, very fortunate to be where I am today.
One of the things about the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series is it's a worldwide stage, and you're going to be talking to a lot of international media, but let us introduce you to Wolfgang from Germany.
Yeah, it's me, over here.
How you doing?
Thank you. Wolfgang Monser from German Rennsport Press Agency. Engine-wise, does BK have an alliance with the existing team, or are they doing their own engine preparation?
Engines right now, I know there's a few things in the air. I'm not really sure we've released anything, but we are for sure Toyota, either Triad or another engine builder in the process. I'm not really sure. But I know we definitely are Toyota, and that's about it.
Stan.
Stan Creekmore with Outside the Box. How long did it take you and BK Racing to make the deal?
It didn't. We've been in conversations for about 2 weeks now, and last week we finally came to agreement and signed the deal. It was kind of late how it all came about, you know, but I'm really, really fortunate. Ron Devine and everybody at BK Racing, to be a part of them is really cool. You know, guy from Virginia, I'm from Virginia, and getting us together to go out and run at the biggest stage at 18 years old. So I know I got a lot to learn and things like that. But, yeah, how the deal came about was really cool. You know, I just really appreciate Ron and everybody at BK for believing in me. And giving me this opportunity to go out and do this. And I definitely believe in them. I remember the first time I walked in the shop for our first meeting, I could just tell everybody in that race shop was there grinding it out and putting their heart and soul in every little thing, every little detail they did on each car. So I really knew when I walked in the door I wanted to call BK Racing a home, because I'm all about hard work, that's for sure.
There we go. Zach.
Zach Albert, NASCAR.com. Gray, what did you learn from the making your Cup debut last year and the couple of starts that you got on that side of things?
Learned a lot for sure. You know, just about the car mainly, the car, the tire, and the horsepower. And fortunately, I got to drive the Cup car at Martinsville, a track I know very well, in Phoenix. I know very well as well, but I had to really get my approvals. That was the main thing. I needed to get my approvals to be able to run the full-time Cup Series, so that was great that I did that. But I just learned a lot. I just loved talking to the peers, like Jimmy Johnson, he helped me out a lot throughout those 2 races that I ran. But there's just so much you got to learn compared to the XFINITY car and the truck that I've drove before. So that's why this year I'm really looking forward to learning more about the car on each track, because I haven't really been on many mile and a halves, never been on a super speedway. So I think I will learn a lot at the draft when I go to the super speedway. But I'd probably say the main thing I learned was just how these cars handle from the beginning of a run to the end of a run, and how crazy and drastic the car can feel at the end of a run. And another cool part was the track bar. I could move the track bar up and down inside the car. That every other car that I've driven, I've never been able to do that. So that was a really big learning curve, but I felt like I got the hang of it pretty well.
Steve Post. We'll get you, Mike. I know. That's what I was thinking already.
Steve Post, Motor Racing Network. Do you guys have a charter? Are you a charter driver?
Yes, sir. I know I will be. I'll have a charter in the 23, but I know 3 races I will not be in the 23. It'll be Bristol. It'll be Bristol, Kentucky, and I think one more that I will not have the charter. But all the rest of the races I'll be in the 23 with a charter.
How does that change the Friday morning first practice pressure that comes with this sport, or that you would have or on those weeks when you have to qualify? How does that help take a little bit of the steam, a little bit of the heat off as you guys get ready to go racing on Sunday afternoons?
Yeah, for sure. Having the charter feels really good. It feels good to have, just knowing that I can work on my race car more and not have to worry about speed the whole time to make sure I'm in the race. So having the charter and not having the charter, I still have kind of the same mindset. Go out there, drive the wheels off of it, tell the crew chief how good the car is. But I know the 2 races that I won't have the charter, it's going to be the same mindset. Just go there and lay a good lap down. See how my car is going to react on new tires, because that'll be very important to make sure I'm in the race. But with the charter, I feel like the pressure's down a little bit. But really, the attitude really just doesn't change. I'm just there to go fast and get my car the best I can.
John.
Hey, Gray, John Davison, Racing Information Systems. Are you going to give any more media thrill rides like you did at VIR a few years ago going into turn 1?
Oh gosh, I remember that. Sorry about that. That was funny. Funny story. He was riding with me, and I was at VIR in a Tundra, and I went in the corner. I was trying to be funny and just really drove it down in there, but the brakes on that Tundra were a little wild, and we ran off the track. So I didn't mean to scare you too much that day.
Jacob Seelman with probably the last of our questions for Gray.
I guess I'm going to kind of pick your brain here for a minute, Gray, because I actually just looked at the charter sheet again. I know the original announcement was that both the 23 and the 83 had charters for 2017. Is that a situation like you were talking about? Has that changed with BK now?
I haven't really been up to speed too much on it, but I know the 83 I think is going to be an open car. The 23 has a full-time charter, which Joey Gase, he'll be in the 23 for Daytona and for Bristol and Kentucky. So I know that for sure. Not really sure on the other ones, but I just know when I'm in the 23, I'll have a charter and have no pressure.
One more, if someone has it, squeak it in. What's going to be a good season for you? Not, the team, you're still meeting and probably knowing everybody, but, you've risen up, had great years. What's going to be a year that'll satisfy you at the end of this one if you look back? Whereabout will that be?
Well, I've already, that's a good question. I've already been trying to set goals for myself and expectations throughout the season. I love to see the first 5 to 10 races just get me and myself, me and my team in the top 25, top 20, being around there, and then hopefully we'll grab a top 15 or maybe a top 10 here and there. So realistic goals and is what I'm shooting for right now for the first 10 races, and then we'll try to get the goals up to where, hey, let's start running top 20. Let's try to run top 20 the last 15 or 20 races, see if we can do that. So I know there's definitely going to be some bumps in the road. I'm a rookie. I'm here to learn. I know I'm going to make a couple mistakes along the way, but I feel like I got a great team behind me that's going to stick behind me and learn with me. And that's what it's all about. I'm going to learn a lot this year. If I can get this year, if I can go to the future and then look back on to the 2017 season, I hope I learn a lot. I get a lot of respect from my peers, and I can go out and have a lot of great finishes and do the best I can for Dr. Pepper and everybody at BK Racing, because I'm just really excited about it. I just think if I can look back on it, hopefully we'll have a lot of great finishes and hopefully maybe get top 25, top 20 in points. That'd be a good season.
Well, we got your teammate coming up, Gaulding, BK Racing, and we'll bring up Joey Gase, who is the. You got to hear Gray talk about his season and such. Kind of fill us in on what your season's going to look like, charter races, things like that.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be lucky enough to make my first Daytona 500 start this year in the number 23 Best Home Furnishings car. And very excited and fortunate to be able to do that. I've had speed at super speedways in the XFINITY series at Daytona and Talladega. And a few years ago, we got fifth at Talladega. So I'm hoping what I've learned in the XFINITY side will continue over to the Cup side.
Question for Joey. In the dozen or so Cup starts, what have you really picked up that now you take into this season as experience points that you didn't have before you ran those Cup races?
The biggest thing to learn, which Gray will learn here at the mile and a half, is the sensation of speed you have. 5 or 10 mile an hour doesn't seem like it's that much faster. But when you jump from a Cup car to an XFINITY car back to the Cup car, you're like, holy cow, I'm really booking here. And when you go back to the XFINITY side, it really slows everything down and helps you out a lot over there as well. And like he was talking about, I always have to remind myself when I'm in the Cup cars, if I'm having handling issues, I have that track bar now I can play with and stuff like that as well.
Jacob
Seelman, Performance Motorsports Network. Joey, obviously a lot of time in the Xfinity car the last couple of years. Are we going to see you back in the Xfinity series at all this year? Is the focus solely on the Cup races that you're going to get to run?
Right now, it looks like I'll be going back full time in the Xfinity series as well, back in the 52 car. So when I'm in the 23 car or 83 car, it'll be double duty as well for those weekends.
Stan
Creekmore with Outside the Box. Given the position that you're in, do you really not pay attention to the points through segment after segment after segment, and you're just more concerned about solid, clean performance? That's something I'm sure we'll definitely be looking at, and been looking on the Cup side and the Xfinity side, especially at the super speedways now, is that, the super speedways are always hairy. You're going to have the big one normally, and you don't know when that's going to happen. I'm always kind of like just to go for it, and whatever happens, happens, and stay up there. And if you lose a draft, you're normally in trouble. But now, with those breaks in there and those segments, you're maybe going to be able to get back with the maybe 2 to 5 car pack and hang out. The caution's going to come out at that point. You'll still be in the lead lap and all set to go, because we all know at a super speedway you can go the 30th, the 1st, in about 5 laps. In a perfect world, of course, you want to be in front of the pack the whole time. But it's definitely something we're going to look into very much.
Wolfgang.
Yeah, Wolfgang Monzer, Germany, Ranchport Press Agency. You said that speed-wise, Xfinity and Cup are big difference. Does it mean also when you jump from Xfinity to the Cup car, it requires a different driving style? You must relearn everything, or is there something you can take over as advantage from Xfinity to Cup?
I think you always have an advantage when you're on the track more. It doesn't matter if you're in a Cup car, Xfinity car, truck, or a go-kart. You're going to realize what the track's going to do when it heats up and it cools down, and what that's going to do to the car. As far as the track heats up or cool down, the handling characteristics are going to be the same, and no matter what type of car you're in. Faster you go, hotter it is out, it's going to make that much bigger of a difference because your speeds are that much faster. But it definitely does make a big difference for sure.
Don.
Joey, Don Gamble, Rapping on Racing. One of the most common questions I get on my radio show is, what's going to happen to NASCAR when all the Cup drivers that are 40 plus retire? But the last 2 days here, there's been such an encouraging group of young drivers like yourself. Is it going to be pressure on you to be part of the future of NASCAR, being as young as you are? And as you move up the ladder, what would your projections be? Looking ahead, when would you be happy to be settled in as a Cup regular?
I'd be happy to do that hopefully here in the next 2 or 3 years or so. I mean, I'd be happy to make that a thing anytime in my career. Being a Cup Series regular is something that's obviously huge, and there's really, of regulars, there's only maybe about 35 to 30 drivers that are regulars every year across the whole world. So to be able to do that's huge. And like you said, there's a lot of guys up there that are getting to that age of maybe retirement, and some guys you don't think about retiring are retiring now. So like you said, there's going to be a lot more seats to fill, which I think is a good thing for drivers like myself.
More questions for Joey in the back there. Sure, go Fenwick, and then we'll go back.
Adam Fenwick with Speed Sport Magazine. Joey, being in a charter car, you're locked into the Daytona 500. Does that take any stress off of you, knowing that you don't really have to worry too much about qualifying into the race, or does it add stress knowing you're in the greatest race for NASCAR, that you now are going to have to focus on that effort?
I definitely say it takes a good amount of stress out. Back on my XFINITY days when we were not locked in at all, my main goal every weekend was just to get in the race. And then once I got into the race, it was like a one, and then I was like, oh crap, now I got to actually race this thing. So now knowing that we're definitely locked into the show, our mindset's going to be the whole time working on race setup and not just working on speed. And now with how the spoilers are on the cars and stuff like that, handling's became a big factor now at super speedways, especially at Daytona, with it being a little tighter than it is at Talladega. And with it being during the day, it's probably going to be a little warm out, and this track temperature is going to be high, so handling's going to be big. So now we're going to be able to hopefully go out there and do some more runs in a big pack and not just qualifying runs.
Keith McFarland of the Keith McFarland Review. Joey, what has been perhaps the most important sources of feedback that has helped you so far to this point in time? And the second part of that is, for perhaps some of the up-and-coming drivers, actually younger than you, are there any particular things you've noticed about them that stands out, or any particular drivers that stands out to you as up-and-comers?
The thing I always look at the most on, I guess, my competition or younger drivers trying to work their way up is if they do a lot of the marketing and their sponsors theirself, and if they work on the car themselves. And that's something I take great pride in on my Xfinity team and a lot of my sponsors. It's something I've had to go out and get myself, and I know how hard it is to get sponsors, and once I have them, I want to do everything I can to keep that. And I've seen a few younger guys out there that maybe don't quite understand how hard it is to get sponsors, and that you have to do everything you can to keep them. And I think we've seen a few of those guys go away from our sport because of that. So that's something I definitely keep an eye on. And when a driver works on the car a little bit and understands how hard it is to build a race car and how hard his team works, it definitely puts in perspective on if you wreck this car or you get upset or you lose a concentration, how big of an impact it's going to make on that team. And dollar-wise too, less you wreck a race car, more money you have to make it go faster instead of just rebuilding it.
Question for Joey. How do you build chemistry with a guy who pretty much signed the contract while we were starting to get here the other day? And do you already have a relationship, or, you got a little time before Daytona? What are you guys going to do?
I don't know what we're going to do for sure. Maybe we're going to go out the GoPro and do some go-karts and build some chemistry that way. And it's going to be interesting definitely after Daytona, when he's in the car more, and then when I'm going to jump back in it in Kentucky and Bristol on what he's learned in the car and what they've learned. And then after Daytona, I'm going to have to tell him, okay, you have to do this and this to go fast, and make sure you watch out for this guy. Maybe he's a little crazy, and this guy will work with you and stuff like that. So it should be a lot of fun.
Do you want to tell us who's crazy?
I like to keep that to myself right now.
Okay, teammate. Joey Gase, driver for BK Racing, thank you for joining us. That'll put us into that space where Matt Crafton would have in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. And 2 out of 3 ex-legend guys from Virginia now on the stage, as we had Gray up here just a little while ago. Good morning. They've been wearing you out?
Hey, it's a good wear out, you know?
That is.
I enjoy it.
Jen keeping you going?
For sure. Yeah, we're having a good time.
First question for Timothy from out in our group. As we had Crafton up here, brought his daughter, Belle was here, some of your competitors in the truck series. What's it like racing that big mix of series and drivers where you're kind of steady there and you get to see drivers from all over? Can you tell, oh, that's a guy that grew up on dirt, that's a guy that came from another, form of pavement? How does that all blend together?
Yeah, I mean, it comes together some, Crafton, a great guy and a friend, and we talk a lot about, at the racetrack on how both of our trucks are handling, and and some of that is how the new guys coming in and the equipment that they're in, and man, they're hard to beat. So you can tell the right situation with a new guy or a veteran on how they grew up, far as dirt or asphalt. So. You get in there and you mix it up. The truck races aren't as long, so you just kind of have to keep that in mind on a new guy or a veteran, and what the situation is, presents itself on what could happen. You know what I mean, during the race, far as compromising your vehicle. So you always keep that in the back of the mind, but you have to go 100% all the time.
Louis Frank.
Yes, Louis Franco, Reuters. Earlier, we had someone ask another competitor of yours what they really thought of the caution clocks now that it's gone. So could you answer that question too?
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't mind it. I think what happens with the caution clock in 16 that, it could take a mediocre day and turn it into a better one. So now with that out of the picture, the segments come into play, there's even more strategy. Still the same scenario. If you're having a day that isn't going like you want it to go, obviously you can come in and chance that before they cut pit road, they close pit road for the segment caution, and try to put yourself from middle to the back of the top 10 to maybe the top 5.
Question. Barry, hey, from your area, home track, South Boston, you got to have something for him.
Yeah, actually, we were talking snow before we came in here. But to piggyback on what you were saying about the caution clock, the races being so much shorter in the Camping World Truck Series, talk about a little bit more in depth the strategy that will go into play with the various segments, because before you know it, half the race is gone, but now we are dividing it into three segments.
Yeah, for sure. It takes everything, now. Not that it didn't before, but, it's just the breakdown with my crew chief and my engineer, the fuel mileage, your in and outs, everything has to be so precise now because what's on the line is those bonus points. And now that the bonus points stay with you through the whole playoffs, if you're eligible to get in the playoffs, that's big to Homestead. So, what we look at is that there's no stone unturned. Again, not that it was before, but it's just everything is looked over with a fine-tooth comb for sure.
Next question.
Dylan McFadden with NBC Sports. In regards to the new format changes, when did you know that the new formats would be in the truck series? What has this offseason been like, waiting to hear what those changes would actually be?
Let's see here. They were announced earlier this week at 6 p.m., and I got a call at 9 a.m. that morning. So you kind of knew that it was coming, but, the official word from our series director, Brad Moran, and I mean, I applaud NASCAR for it. It's going to be exciting. Not that any of the racing wasn't, but, it's going to put you in a situation to where you want as many bonus points as you can. That's what it's going to be all about because, same scenario, win and you're in. But if you get a guy that gets more bonus points than you have, then you very well can have a win and be on the outside looking in.
Al?
Yeah, Timothy, Eldora Speedway on dirt has been such a huge hit with the truck series. Would you like to see the truck series run more races on dirt?
I know that's probably a loaded question, but you know, I guess the best way to look at that is that, you know, my background is pavement racing. You know, and it's hit or miss when you go there because it all depends very much on how the track is prepped. And my best year there was in 2013, and we won our heat race, and we finished 6th or 7th, or 8th, I think is what it was. But, you know, ever since then, it just seems like there's just a little bit different with the racetrack. And me, you know, throughout the year, you watch a lot of video, you can't really test. So you just try to make the best educated guess that you can to make your finish possible. I mean, you know, if they threw in another dirt race, then the race is going to go on regardless if you're in it or not. So, you know, I hope I answered that the best that I could.
You didn't slip over to Natural Bridge every now and then in your career and go sliding around there?
I have some friends that want me to come to Dillon and run in a street stock car, but I don't know if my owner would let me do that or not.
Barfield would put you in under another name.
Yeah,
Yeah, nobody'd know.
All right, I'm game.
Fenwick. Oh, wait, excuse me. Go back here to Barry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing I did mean to ask you, Timothy, home track, Martinsville Speedway plus lights, what does that equal for you?
A lot of excitement. You know, they just announced September 23rd with the Valley Star 300 being under the lights. Wish I could make that, but hopefully we're going to be in New Hampshire winning the first round of the playoffs. You know, I think it's the greatest thing ever. I love Martinsville. I love the heritage of the racetrack because, you know, it's one of maybe 3 that really built NASCAR racing. And it's a big footprint in Henry County and the surrounding areas. So hopefully, while I'm still able to drive, that they'll have a truck race under the lights and I can participate.
Adam Fenwick.
Timothy, Adam Fenwick with Speed Sport Magazine. We all know you like to run a couple of late model stock races every year, including Martinsville. Unfortunately, you won't be able to make it, like you mentioned. Can we expect you to run a couple of late model stock races anywhere in the region this year?
I think so. I think we're going to try to hit a couple at South Boston. You know, our late model stock program has really taken off. You know, this year, last year in 2016, bringing on Brandon Pierce, and for 17, we'll have him and Bobby McCarty. So proud of how that has gained traction over the years from when Barry Nelson and myself started it. So, you know, we're going to try to run some when we can, but just don't know those dates yet.
About time. Don's got probably the last question here as we get to him.
Don Gamble, rapping on racing. Many years ago, maybe even before you were born, I was doing a radio interview with a NASCAR official, and he said, "We're going to start a truck series." And I said, "Why?" He said, "We looked out in the parking lot, and half the vehicles were trucks." So he went on to explain, he said, "It's going to be a long road." He said, "We have one truck, and it doesn't even have a motor." When you look at the growth of the truck series now, you have to be pleased with the opportunities that you have because it's a very vibrant series.
Without a doubt. I mean, look how, you know, exciting it is. Even without the playoff format, before it was implemented, I should say, you know, it's grassroots racing. And that's what I love about it. I grew up in my late model stock car. You know, it was all take. You won't give in anything. And it's the way it is now. You know, you're running, you know, 200 laps and you qualify in every lap. And there's no, you know, well, I just take what I can get. You know, obviously you need to keep that mindset, but you know, everybody wants to go to the front, and that's what I love about it. The sport's healthy. Yeah, you have a few teams that have went out over the season, but the teams that have went out, you know, you've had double new ones come in. So I'm just excited to be a part of it, and hopefully it continues just to grow through the roof.
Well, we appreciate you being a part of this. Timothy Peters, his time to go to the next station and wherever Jen takes him, and we appreciate it. Thank you, Timothy. We should have, appreciate it, good to see you. Spencer Gallagher, placed in the K&N series. Hi, guys. Welcome to the party.
Howdy, howdy. What are y'all doing?
You're the first two that we've done two at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that?
We're special.
You are.
Start
You
this
are.
off and say I'm not nearly as exciting as this guy. So, yeah.
Yeah, an apple.
You know, one of these is supposed to keep doctors away. That's what I've heard. So, you know, trying to keep that up. It's important to be healthy going into a season.
So Spencer and Justin, and I know Jacob has already got a question, so I don't even have to get this thing warmed up. We'll start, and then we'll go through. It looks like 4 or 5 already.
Jacob Seelman, Performance Motorsports Network. And yes, I'm going to start by completely ignoring you, Justin Haley. You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
That's cold-blooded, man.
Share love.
Boy, oh boy, no love in the heart of the hood.
No, there's love for Justin, Spencer. But I want to ask you specifically about him, because I didn't think it could get any more fun in the GMS camp than having you basically overseeing the whole deal. And now with you in the Xfinity car and bringing that hooligan on to help out in the truck series, I mean, the dynamic between you two already looks like it's fun. What's it been like working with him?
It's been great, man. It's wonderful having young guns like Justin and Kaz come on for the 2017 series. You know, it's going to be a great opportunity for them to showcase their talent, and it'll be a great opportunity for us to showcase our what our trucks can do at GMS. So we've already had a great time. We've got a iRacing simulator that's kind of been our brainchild that we're getting built up in the shop. So it's been wonderful to work with Justin already. I've told him, stick around. I'll be the best bad influence he's ever had.
Next, Kelly.
Kelly Crano, Racer.com. Spencer, I just need to know what you did with the Snapchat spectacles. Have you painted them red, white, and blue, or have you?
Right now, that is actually in process, yes. For those of you that don't know, I was gifted at the NASCAR Rookie Seminar a pair of Snapchat spectacles, which I'm told is a great honor. Right now, they're in the hands.
I believe it was only 2 of you who got them.
I know, great honor, right? It's I feel so special, so exclusive. But no, I handed them off immediately to our media guy, Opie / mad scientist, and he's already come up with some pretty incredible stuff. We're going to be working those in through the year, I think. But to answer your question directly, yes, there may or may not be an American flag wrap coming for those things, and you may see them at some point in the future.
All right, well, you had told me last week, so I needed to know. It's been bugging me the whole time. But seriously, though, you do look like you are in great shape, and you have been changing your diet or whatever it is. What's behind that?
Hey, man, it's a real simple thought process. If you want to compete in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, as well as any NASCAR National Series, you can't be a fatso. You got to be driving. Listen. Tony's an exception because he wins races, all right? But you can't realistically expect to get in a 150-degree race car and be told that you're going to be sitting in here for 2 hours and come out the other side feeling like you're going to be a good performer on that racetrack. So over this winter, I took it upon myself to really step up my level of fitness, watching my diet, and I think it's paid dividends. I think it'll show up on the racetrack as well, but that's kind of the bar that's been established these days by all the professionals that you see throughout all 3 national series. You can't get away with not watching your figure anymore. Plus, it makes you look good in the fire suit.
Christopher.
Chris Knight, CatchFence.com. Justin, you won't run the first 2 races at Daytona or Atlanta, but you will be in the truck starting at Martinsville. Have you talked to NASCAR? Are they going to grant you a waiver that you can compete for the playoffs if you win a race?
You know, Chris, that is a fantastic question, and I would love to know the answer as well as everyone here. So we're working on it day in, day out, but things are looking towards the better side, and hopefully we can go out there and compete for the Rookie of the Year and, maybe the chase. So as soon as I know an answer, you'll know an answer, and everyone will be happy.
Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. Spencer, if you were to win Daytona, what kind of celebration could we expect to see from you?
I've thought hard about this, Jeff. I'm glad you asked that question. Right now, I'm thinking if I should win Daytona, I'll start with a fence climb, followed by a double backflip, half cab 720 flip onto the pavement, at which point I will go run and perform a Grass Angel. That's my plan for now. So whenever I win Daytona, which will be soon here, about a month now, Y'all watch out. It's going to be pretty incredible.
I like the fence climb. That's aggressive.
Yeah. Hey,
Good.
you know, one of my idols really and truly always has been Tony, and that was his thing for a good long while. So that's something I've always thought, you know, when I give myself a checkered flag, that's where I'd like to start.
Wow. McFadden.
Daniel McFadden with NBC Sports. Spencer, why was now the right time for you and GMS Racing to make the full-time jump to Xfinity Series racing? And what have been some of the challenges you guys have faced in making that full transition after part-time racing?
You know, I think the history of GMS since we started out has been full of challenges. We're a young upstart team. We're not backed by any of the big old guard of this sport, and we've kind of had to make our own way and take our own lumps as we've gone along. So there's been plenty of challenges and struggles throughout the course of our career, but through kind of the course of the 2016 season, especially into the back half of it, I think you really saw a new GMS show up to the racetrack every single weekend, and it showed with our on-track results. I think I grew myself a lot as a driver, and we started putting great stuff on the track and stuff that could and did win races. And hey, we picked ourselves up a championship. So, you know, it's one of those kind of philosophical questions you got to ask yourself. If not now, what better time?
Back to Jacob.
And now I'm going to get redemption and make Justin Haley happy again, because my question's for you this time, bud. So going into this year, obviously all your success this past year at the K&N level, I know you're excited at the short tracks, but as far as the bigger tracks, have you got something circled on the calendar where you're particularly excited for to get to in the truck?
You know, I really haven't been much around the mile-and-a-half circuits, but Spencer here has been giving me plenty of tips or advice. I'm not sure if I should use them.
Notice the air quotes went up when tips came out. That was a little odd.
But no, we went to a test yesterday at Atlanta, and I watched Kaz run the truck around a little bit. So to kind of get the aero feel and everything with, you know, all the mile-and-a-half tracks will be difficult, and I'm looking forward to it. And you know, leaning on teammate Johnny and Kaz and, you know, everyone else, Spencer, and the nationwide, or not nationwide, but XFINITY program will be big.
Stan Creekmore.
Stan Creekmore with Outside the Box. I just want to know, why isn't Kaz here today? Is he up pulling for some Patriots or something?
He's at the Rolex 24 Hours, I believe. He's on his way going down there.
Racing them fancy pants sports cars where you can't hit each other and not punch each other. Pansies.
I would die to be in that race, so I don't know what he's talking about.
So when will you work on building this chemistry?
I don't know, man. It's a struggle. It really is. I can barely stand him, as you can tell.
So does Sauter play into this too?
Oh yeah, Johnny feeds all of this whenever he's around. He's such a fun guy. I'll tell you guys this. For those of you that know Johnny personally, you know about what I'm about to say. But for those of you that only know Johnny behind the lens of a camera, that's about 1% of him, and the other 99% is one of the most genuine, hardworking, driven people you'll ever know. And you know what? I like that 1% because, by God, if I'm going to have a driver, I want one that gets hot when he loses or feel he's been wronged.
Lee Spencer.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Spencer, define punch, because that wasn't really what I saw between you and John West Townley last year.
You know, I learned an excellent question, Lee, or excuse me, I learned an excellent lesson last year. Someone comes to you, put them on the ground, because they're going to find you all the same. Pacifism got me nowhere, so hey, I'm not that dumb. I learned my lesson.
Time out. Why do you think he's been going to the gym so much?
See? There you go.
At him.
Wolfgang.
Hi, Wolfgang.
Yeah, I'm from Germany.
I noticed.
Oh, thank you.
That will make quotes.
Going from trucks to Xfinity, is there a big difference driving style? You have to relearn everything, or is there anything what you learn to trucks and well, that is to my advantage in Xfinity?
There is absolutely a huge difference between a truck and an Xfinity car. There's a chasm between how you drive the two, really, and I think it's only going to get a lot wider this year, considering they're getting ready to take a bunch of downforce off the Xfinity cars. A truck is, from my experience, generally one of the easiest vehicles you will ever drive alone around an intermediate track. and they absolutely lose their minds in traffic, and thus the challenge on them. It's very aero-driven racing, and I think it's one of the most fun kinds of racing I've ever been a part of. An Xfinity car, on the other hand, is an interesting beast because I feel it gives you a lot of tools back as a driver because it's not nearly so stuck as a truck. You have to spend time out of the throttle. You have to get all the way out of the gas to be able to make it around that corner. And that sounds like a silly thing to say, but really and truly, as a driver, that puts tools back in your hands because, you know, in a truck, if you get loose, the first thing they tell you, don't you dare come all the way out of that gas because you'll unlock the locker and spin yourself out. But in an Xfinity car, you're working your steering wheel a lot more, you're working your gas and brake a lot more, and that provides a lot more opportunity for you as a driver to showcase your talent and make a difference in how your car's handling.
Spencer, Justin, thank you for joining us. We're at a 10-minute block for you, and they hit 10 minutes, but thank you for taking the time to be with us. That was fun.
Thanks, y'all, for having us out. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Spencer
guys.
Gallagher, Justin Haley. And as we had said, we'll pause at this point and come back, and our next group of drivers starts with Ryan Blaney, then David Reagan, Austin Dillon, and Elliott Sadler. That will start about 3:20.